if you're at a party and it sucks so bad,
get in your car, listen to the BHHcast.
Well, first of all, you should be listening to the BHHcast on the way over to get helpful advice like this. So if you have left your apartment with your guitar thinking, I'm going to save the party tonight when it gets dull by playing these acoustic covers I've learned, you need to go to a different party. That is the worst. Your life is a mess.
I don't know where you're coming from. Are you coming from the office? Are you coming from home? Maybe coming from a wedding that you just walked out of because you found out that your groom wasn't the guy you thought he was. He no longer picks you up at the airport, and you just kind of realized it after your mother-in-law made some really snide remark about your shoes and how they weren't matched. Anyhow, I don't know where you're coming from, but the podcast is about to come on, so let's go.
I want to go back to the guitar thing. You should never leave, unless you're a professional musician, be on your way to a paid gig. There is never a time when your guitar should be in your car. If you're going to the woods by yourself to camp for the weekend, and you think, I'm going to bring my guitar and I'm going to play in the field all by myself, or the campground, and I can't wait to hear my song echo over the lake. There's a person on the other shore thinking, why in the world did this terrible guitarist bring their guitar?
That's how Bambi's mom died in the original Disney.
She did not die from a hunter.
No.
It wasn't fire that killed Bambi's mother.
Some guy who doesn't really play guitar that well.
It was poor musicianship.
Yep. Now, none of this advice applies to an acoustic cover of an AC/DC song, right?
It does not matter what you think you can do with that guitar.
AC/DC.
It is all a bad idea.
What about Free Fallin'?
Nope, none of that.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Still a bad idea. Again.
You can make a great song awful.
What about that original that you just really want to let everybody hear?
You're not hearing us. Your guitar is awful.
Leave the guitar home.
Do not bring it.
Don't bring it.
No matter what happens, if you open a car door or a trunk and you have a guitar in your hands, stop it.
If you are at a party and someone says, I found a guitar in the garage, it would be great if there was someone here who could play it. Don't play the guitar.
You're not helping the party.
It's a trap.
You're hurting.
Even the garage guitar.
It doesn't matter if
I don't care if it's a ukulele.
Doesn't matter.
Ooh, how do we feel about ukulele guy?
That's kind of colorful.
Ukulele is
totally cool.
It's
very cool actually.
Yeah, I kind of like the ukulele guy.
Those guys are great. Anyhow, the guitar guy.
Do
not
party at a guitar party.
No,
not
helping.
Don't do it.
Wrong vibe.
And
you know when it's the wrong vibe? Every party.
All the time.
Every party, it's the wrong vibe. Stop doing it.
What if you brought an electric guitar and your own amp?
Also, no.
Are you not clear on this? We've been very clear.
Just trying to get the rules.
Well, here's the rules.
You can go through
have a guitar and you're in public and you're not a professional guitar player, stop it.
No guitar.
Just
doesn't matter the circumstance.
Stop it.
I know your grandmother's dying wish was that you play guitar at her memorial service. She's gone.
You know what killed Grandma?
Don't bring in the guitar.
Your friggin' guitar.
Does this apply to Eric Clapton?
No, you want to know what?
No, professional guitarist. We've already clarified. Professional guitarists can do whatever they want.
You know what natural causes actually means? Your guitar playing.
No guitar.
That's how you're killing people.
Under any circumstances.
Stop it.
Unless you're a comedian and you can't figure out how to end your set. And then in which case, play a guitar parody.
Totally cool.
Yeah,
Sandler made $1 zillion doing that stuff.
Yep, clever people like witty songs.
Yeah, comedians get the exception.
You're not a comic.
You are not funny.
You're not, no.
And you are definitely not a guitar player.
Can you play a bongo?
Are we not? Are you even on the same planet anymore? Like I kid you not. Like
as a comic, are you even listening? Can you play a bongo?
Okay, so wait a minute. Let's just go back. You're at a party.
Yeah.
You would like to play a musical instrument.
That's what you're saying to yourself.
I want to be able to play a musical instrument successfully. Yep. Are there some musical instruments that it is okay to play?
Yes, clarinet.
Wrong.
The
only instrument that you can play at a party is a bongo. But, and this is a very important but, it can only be played ironically. It can never be played seriously. You can never go serious bongo at any party.
Yeah.
Ironic bongo only.
I haven't seen a serious bongo guy in a while though.
Only ironic.
Yeah.
Ironic
The
bongo
serious bongo guys, I think
always
they all
crushes.
died off.
always crushes.
I think it's because they couldn't mate. Because no one wants to go home with the guy who played serious bongo at the party. No one.
You have to stumble upon the bongo to do ironic bongo. You can't bring your own bongo and then play the bongo ironically.
Okay. Bongo players are like arsonists.
Yep.
They often set the fires that they want to put out.
That's what they say.
Bring a bongo, hide a bongo, find a bongo, play a bongo.
Ironically.
That is ironic bongo.
Yeah, sorry. Ironically.
It is.
Wait, is that a bongo?
Yeah. Oh my God, guys. Has there been a bongo at this party the whole time?
And honestly, if you're not willing to put in the pre-work, don't even bring.
Well, certainly.
Yeah. You're not an entertainer. Then
Can you play a guitar ironically?
Non-ironic
Have
guitar.
we not
There's
been
no
clear
such
about
thing
this?
as
The guitar
Who's
thing?
ever heard of
Jesus,
such
Jamie.
a thing as ironic
All right,
guitar?
what if
We've
you have-
literally been talking about this for days now, for weeks on this podcast. We've given a bunch of spots on how guitars work.
All right, you have the guitar.
No,
and you
no,
play
no,
the
no.
body of the guitar ironically as a bongo.
It still counts as a guitar
So
playing.
listen, any serious musician knows that the only time you use your guitar as a percussion instrument is when you don't know how to play your guitar.
No, it's the slappity slap slap.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the surest sign that you're not an actual guitarist, that you are a drummer moonlighting as a guitarist.
What about if you
Yeah.
bring your air guitar to the party?
You know, when
Okay, so
Jimi Hendrix was alive, he used to actually beat up people who tapped on their guitar like that.
every person brings an air guitar to the party.
You may have an air guitar, but that doesn't mean that you're bringing it.
I'm saying no person shows up at a party without
Without
their
an air guitar. Everybody has one.
Everybody's
so we can't
at
judge
the
those
guitar.
people.
You can't. It's not like nobody has ever found an air gutar at a party.
But that's a pretty cool move at a party. Be like,
Oh my God, guys.
what's in that in the corner? Is that an air guitar?
Oh my God!
I didn't know you guys had one of those.
What?
What is that? Is that 6-string?
Oh, hey, this is
Ding, ding, ding.
pretty sweet.
Oh,
Anybody
look at
got
this.
some-
It's a little out of tune, but let me just
Let me-
fix it a little bit.
let me
Little fix
tune it
yeah,
up.
no.
Let me-
And there's
I
that
got an
one.
app on my phone.
let me plug in it.
And there's that one guy who's like, "Damn, I forgot my air guitar."
And there's some guy going, and the host is like, honey, I told you to put away the air guitar.
Yeah.
You know Kevin's going to pull it out, and
Yeah.
everyone's going to be pissed.
Supposedly, and I've just heard this as a rumor, there are some people who got through college showing off their air guitar collection. Kind of a power move.
That is a power move.
You want to go upstairs and see my air guitar collection?
That's a great line.
Great line.
Yeah, you're a cool cat.
That is pretty smooth.
Yeah. You are crushing
Yeah.
bongo guy. I don't even care if it's ironic.
Bongo guy. Bongo guy's over there shirtless with a hacky sack wondering what happened.
Bongo guy-
Ironic bongo guy. You got kicked to
He's
the
like,
curb.
What? I thought it was closing.
I thought it was closing. Nope.
No.
Guy comes in with an air guitar.
Yeah, I got a
in
bunch
the
of air
room.
guitars.
Buzzing.
Yeah. Is it going to bother you if I play my air
It's
guitar?
over.
I'm going to be just over here, air guitar.
You're like, hey, baby,
Mm-hmm.
got some air guitar up in this room and stuff.
Now, did you pull the air guitar out of your pack, or you just instant air guitar
First of all, it's not a pack,
Yeah.
case?
not even a case. It's on an air strap slung over your shoulder, and you swing it bandolero style.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
Right?
with the hips. I just sometimes do it with my hips.
Swing it
No, I
around.
don't even use my
Right?
arms. I just give a big hip shake
Yeah.
to bring it all the way around.
Right. You're
Yeah.
not.
Can you play the air guitar lefty?
Some people, I'm sure, are left-handed air guitar.
No, I'm saying that
No,
you
I
as a
can't.
righty.
I can't.
No, I wouldn't. No more than I could play actual guitar left-handed.
I mean, I probably could, but it wouldn't be any good.
You play your that'd be like saying, "Oh, I air drum left-handed." Like you
It's what
what am I gonna do? I'm gonna play my bass drum with my
That's
left
so
foot.
stupid.
What
Like
are
someone
you
would air drum left-handed. You're so
What
dumb.
are you doing when you
So stupid.
when you air keyboard? Are the high keys down on your left hand? No,
What,
they're
you
not.
crazy?
What do you? This
This is
is
crazy talk.
rules don't change
Yeah,
just because
you're still
they're
right-handed.
air instruments.
Yeah,
I'm so ashamed.
so obvious. Okay.
So what you're saying is bring your guitar.
No,
We've honestly, we're not going to do this again.
We're
We've-
full circle.
No,
Bring your guitar.
no.
Serious bongo. No air guitar.
You've lost. You're not paying attention. You're not paying attention. You honestly, we've got to get a different guy to edit this podcast because he's clearly not listening. We said no guitar at the party.
ever. Under no circumstances.
Serious bongo? When do you do that?
Never.
Ever. Never, ever. Ironic bongo. Is it okay?
Always.
Always okay.
Always okay to ironic bongo.
Not the A game, but who is the A game?
Air guitar.
Collector. The air guitar collector. He's the real A game.
Yep.
Everyone's got an air guitar. Not everyone has an air guitar collection. That guy's...
Ooh, I like this one.
Yeah.
This is a pretty sweet one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, this is one I only play
is
for
one of the better ones.
the ladies
Yeah.
in my life. Yeah. I play this for my mom. I play this for my little sister. And I'd like to play it for you.
I like to play for you.
This is my air guitar, and this one's for you.
All right, so producer Adam, hey, can you make some notes on that? I need to get those edited down.
We're not.
Don't
I'm
do
not. Yeah. I'm not even.
do it.
Yeah. I'm not even going there with you. I'm the talent.
So you say.
So he says.
Honestly, I love. Have you guys checked out the store on the website?
It's actually a decent store.
No, it's pretty
Yeah.
decent.
Yeah.
Have you the new hats are in?
Hats are in.
The t-shirts.
T-shirts
You can
are
get
also in.
stickers.
Koozies.
Yeah, we got koozies. We got
Masks.
Yep, you can get plastic cups that just say "Bring on the ba."
Knife set?
Also, custom air guitars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Those are
We
expensive to deliver, though.
Actually, free shipping.
Yeah. So what
on
we'll do
all
is
air
what we
guitars.
yeah. So I think we're running a promotion on air guitars.
Instant downloads.
Yeah. So what it does is if you go ahead and you order, I think it's 2 hats, then you get an air guitar
Free
for
air
free.
guitar.
Yeah, in the box.
Untuned. You're going to have to tune it yourself because,
I mean, yeah, we're shipping them.
right.
It's obviously going to get untuned. Anyhow, check out the swag store. You guys are going to love it.
Also, we've been running just for this month only. We will do freelance eulogies. So if you've had an unfortunate death, we will
Freelance them.
eulogize whomever has passed.
I agree. Yeah. We're
But
looking.
you're not allowed to tell us anything about them.
No, but check out on the eulogies on
Yeah, yeah.
at the swag site.
Right.
Yeah. So anyhow, check out the store. You guys are gonna love it. So I just had one of the. I don't know if I told you guys this. It was supposed to tell you off the air, but someone noticed me in my BHHcast hat the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I'm walking through a bar, and literally the bartender comes up and he's like, "Oh, BHHcast." He's like, and he had a hat too. He pulls it out from behind the bar.
All right.
The funny thing is, I'm not sure he knew who I was.
He just liked the gear.
Yeah, I loved it. That there was somebody out there that just had another BHHcast. The logos are cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the logos are cool. I saw that we had some in different colors, but the black, I love the black. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of embraces the whole, sheep on a surfboard.
No, and
Yeah, you
when
can
he
get a
walked up,
sheet.
he goes, "Are you on the flock?" And I was like, "Oh, that's so funny. I'm
Right?
in the flock." Because in case you didn't notice, the logo, it's a little sheep on a surfboard. Talk about an opener at almost any bar, right?
Is that sheep on a surfboard?
No, I mean it just
It's
the hat requires a story.
Yeah, it's clearly a lifestyle brand. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a...
No, somebody's walking up to you saying, and it's probably the pretty girl who says, "Tell me the story behind that hat."
Yeah, tell me about that.
Because it's a sheep on a surfboard.
Right.
And then there you go. Pretty soon you're showing your air
Right.
guitar collection,
And honestly,
you're off to
it
Disneyland.
pretty much boils down to it's not something that's supposed to be, but then once you get it, it's only what it's supposed to be,
That's right.
right?
Once you get it,
Once you got it,
yeah.
you're like, okay, I got it.
No, and the fun thing is people want more now. Like
Right.
it's not enough just to have it on your hat. You got
Yeah, I
to,
don't-
and again, it's the story, because you either get it or you don't get it.
I'm looking forward to getting it.
Do you still not get it?
No, I get.
You've been a part of every friggin' episode, are you
Yeah.
not?
No, I get
You
it
know?
now.
honestly,
I didn't get it
there's
2 seconds
something
ago.
special.
I get it now.
But now you're feeling like you got it?
I
You
got
were
it.
skeptical on the whole sheep on a surfboard.
No, I
It's okay.
love
You
the
can own your
idea.
skepticism.
No, I love
Doesn't
the
have
idea.
to, make it seem like it was uniform.
No, I thought it was
It was
wonderful.
doubt. You had to
No.
be talked into it a little bit. We had to get
Go
you
back to the interview with Bob. Listen to it again. Maybe you'll start to understand what it's like to be on
He
a surfboard.
nailed it.
Yeah, I mean that's really it.
Bob Trammell.
Yeah,
I think they know who Bob is.
right. It's the only, when you go back through the episode description, it's the only one that's going to include Bob in the description.
Yeah.
For now.
Well, Redford's not calling us back right now.
Even if there's a handful of episodes that include Bob's, presumably you've
Right. I think.
created in the description, Bob talks about sheep on surfboards.
Yeah. But honestly, you want to understand it? Go back. If you already understand it, grab a hat.
Or a shirt.
Yeah. You'll love 'em.
Sleepwear.
You'll love them.
Lingerie.
Easter's right around the corner, guys. And you know what everybody thinks with Easter? A lot of people say bunnies. Some people say sheep. And I think our flock is rising, and they want to see other members of the flock. So go ahead and identify yourself as a member of the flock. Go ahead and hit the swag store. You're going to love the stuff we have there. A lot of new hats. Love the hats.
Stickers for the back window of your car.
Yep. Some people put them on the laptops. Some people put them on the car.
You're hanging out at the coffee shop, listening to the podcast.
It's kind of cool.
Right?
I love it when another member of the flock comes up to you and says, hey.
Right.
It's like, just what's up?
Run by with a quick...
At first, I thought that it was my weight loss that was getting me all the attention at the
Turns out
coffee
it's just
bar.
the gear?
It's just the gear. The gear's powerful, though. I love our gear.
Powerful gear.
Get yourself some gear, folks. So, Jamie, I got stranded the other day.
Really?
No, totally stranded. My car battery, dead.
Oh, and you probably didn't have a shop anywhere near you.
No, so what I did is I called a tower.
Oh, tower.
Yeah, I don't have AAA, so I had to pay a lot to get the guy to come out. Yeah.
That was a mistake.
But then he sold me what I call incredibly marked up battery.
Whoa!
Yeah, they're a sponsor of our show now.
They're wonderful.
It's honestly the least they could do for a $1,500 battery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I believe that it has a 3-month warranty, right?
Yeah, 3 months. I went and looked at Walmart, and it like these die-hard things. A lot of those batteries last a very long time, but so far this battery's working great.
How long have you had it?
Almost 2 weeks.
Whoa!
Yeah, and the car starts up. I mean, sometimes it's a good, but it's usually starting up.
And you'd say that even if they weren't our sponsor, right?
Oh, I really would actually. I've loved their products for almost 2 weeks.
Wow, incredibly marked up battery.
Yeah, incredibly marked up battery. You can only get them through tow truck drivers, though.
Oh.
So you have to call the tow truck driver. It's kind of one of those like behind the scenes rave kind of secret things.
Is there a special phrase they should say?
They should say, "Give me the BHHcast." Give me the BHHcast, and then they get the incredibly expensive marked up battery.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of a status symbol under the hood.
Nice. So, Sheep, get your incredibly marked up battery today.
Sheep, you head over there and you get yourself a battery.
Not a real product.
All right, welcome back, Sheep. This is the BHHcast. Jamie Bendel, Jamie Hernan, Adam Haig. It is time for us now to welcome our special guest to this episode. I'm actually very excited to welcome this guest. Good longtime friend, somebody I've known for a while, name you may be familiar with. It is Mr. Mitch Evans. Mitch, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So earlier, before you joined us, we were talking about interviewing and difficult conversations and how you ask questions. And I thought that you would be a good person to have a little conversation about this because of your background. Mm-hmm. And the first question that we ask everybody as an introduction to that is, what does it say on your business card?
Well, how do you know I have a business card?
Okay, literally or figuratively.
If you had a business card, what would
card,
it say?
What would it say?
Well, I've had business cards. I don't have a business card currently for the company that I'm working for. I'm kind of taking pride in collecting my business cards when I've had a chance to have them from the various radio stations and companies that I've worked for. So usually, it was hosts. That, but now that I'm not a host anymore, and I'm really more of a news/sportscaster. I guess news/sportscaster/human being.
But human being third, though.
Yes. Yes. This is what I've wanted to do my whole life. So, as long as I feel like I'm doing something in some sort of field of broadcasting, sports, news, I feel good about myself.
So when you were a kid, this seems like it's every kid's dream job, right? This is the idea of you really love sports, you like watching sports, you want to just talk sports and get paid to do it. Is that the route that you followed, or?
Well, the dream was playing center field for the Yankees. I kind of realized rather quickly that wasn't going to happen. But from all the sports that I watched, I was like, I guess that or being a photographer. I always see the guys who are shooting games at the Hawks games or basketball games and how they're laying underneath the basket. I mean, they are right in the thick of it. It's a better spot than, when you're sitting courtside for a game.
Right.
I mean, you can get run over courtside by sitting at one of the tables too, for sure, no doubt. But so I've always wanted to do that, whether it was being an athlete or being involved somehow in sports, whether it was on the air or writing, whatever it was. That that's my father's thing. He turned me on to sports, and that was always our dream together.
So did he also cut you off of the whole center field thing?
No,
he was supportive of that one. Yeah, it was your talent level that cut you there.
Yeah, I realized that I wasn't good enough. Maybe that I wasn't good enough. I just didn't have the drive to really do it. My drive wasn't for that. My drive was for eventually, what my career was going to be. So,
did you play sports as a kid?
Yeah, I played baseball, basketball, hockey, roller skate hockey, not ice hockey. So I'm a little guy, a little squirmy guy.
So you've talked to people throughout your career. What is your process about that? Like, what are some of the things when you say, okay, I know I'm gonna get ready for this interview, I'm gonna do something. How do you go about prepping for that?
Well, I'll be, research, on the internet, trying to find as much information that I could on the internet about anything. You could ask the obvious questions. So I think you're trying to find something that maybe will impress your, the person that you're interviewing by something that they may not think that you would know about them.
Okay. So is it your feeling that if you're interviewing somebody and they're going to have resistance to being candid, do you feel like prep allows you to increase their comfort level with you?
No, I don't necessarily think so. I think also it's making them feel comfortable. Maybe trusting you, trusting the interviewer that, even if boundaries aren't set, maybe to knowing who you're going to be interviewing, maybe there's a subject that was, a little taboo or, that they may not be comfortable talking about. I don't know. That all depends. And I guess, also depending on the level of person that you're interviewing, if they have a handler or something, you can't talk about this or something like that. But I guess for me, the best interviewer out there is Howard Stern. And what's the one thing that Howard Stern does is always make the person that he's talking to feel comfortable. If you ever listen to an interview of his, that's something for me that sticks out all the time. That's how he gets all the nuggets out of people. They let their guard down. Because
I think sometimes we find in life that we have these hard conversations that we want to engage in, but we don't necessarily know how to get into them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, again, research, at least know, if you're interviewing somebody, well, you have to know, about them, whatever history they have, whether it's an athlete or entertainer or politician, whatever it might be. And, being able to delve, being able to show them that you know about them, that you're not, someone didn't just set the interview up and you didn't come in doing the work. That's right. What it always comes down to is, you got to do the work, whether you're working for someone and they have expectations for you, or if you're doing it on your own for something like this, about a podcast.
I feel like as a sportscaster, it'd be a little bit frustrating because the on-the-record conversation, the canned, meaningless answers, there's no I in team, tomorrow's another day, would just drive me crazy. But then the off-the-record conversations would be far more interesting when the athletes can really let loose.
Maybe so, but I think also most of the things that you're talking about, you may get out of interviews, I don't know, after a game or something like that, where they're all business most of the time, unless they have a comfort level with you as a person. They know you personally. They see you around the ballpark all the time. They know that you're there, so they know that you know what's going on. Then maybe they're a little bit more comfortable. That certainly has been my experience with athletes. They see you and they know you're there. Innate respect for them, as opposed to just being someone that they may not know, and you're there once in a blue moon, and you're trying to ask them some kind of searing, serious question, deep question. That doesn't work.
So one of the luxuries that you brought up Stern and his interview style, and one of the luxuries he has is that, he's running his show and he can, and I think one of the things that makes his interviews great is the length of time that he usually takes to talk to people, right? And so have you ever had a situation where you've been frustrated by that, like where you've, because you don't have the hour that Stern has probably in most of your situations to do, have you ever been frustrated by where you're like, man, we're really rolling here, and then it had to, you have to go, the guy has to go to Cincinnati after talking to Atlanta kind of thing.
Right. Well, that's the difference sometimes between live and tape. If you're taping with someone, you can say to them, you got a few more minutes. I know we were only supposed to speak till, 10 after the hour. You got another 10 minutes because I really think we're hitting on something.
Yeah.
And then, they could say yeah or no. If you're on live, you've got to go to break. I've been parts of many shows, whether I was the interviewer or not, been in the background while someone else has been doing the interview and breaking rules by going longer. And then having what ends up happening is that you may even lose a segment and have to run like 10 minutes worth of commercials back to back, which then management doesn't take too kindly to.
We'll be back right after this.
Yeah, and here's 20 minutes of commercial, right? Yeah, no, that is interesting though.
Do you feel like social media in its own way and the way in which athletes and entertainers participate in social media diminishes the way in which journalists have historically kind of been a gatekeeper to those people?
Oh, absolutely. They have their own website, so they get what they want to be said out there directly to, the fans. So that's, and it's escaping me right now, but there's and I think Derek Jeter's the guy that created the Players something. They have
the Players Tribune?
Right, Players Tribune. That's another outlet for them so that they don't have to go, to any, ESPN or Fox or, whatever it might be. So that certainly has been a big change, is that whether it's their own social media accounts, and I think that's been the biggest thing. People who have the followers. A guy like LeBron, he could shout, look at LeBron and how he's gone up against Trump online, calling him a bum.
Right.
So that's power.
Yeah. So, all right. So you've been here in the South for a long time. Obviously, you grew up in the Northeast. You're familiar with the concept of the Meat and Three restaurant?
No.
Yep. He's not familiar with it. Jamie seems to think that this Meat and Three thing is internationally known, that everyone knows what it is. I honestly want to put a tally up. I think at the end of the day, if you get 6 people who know what a Meat and Three is, as you describe it, I think I will buy you a trip to Vegas.
I think after I explain it, every person knows exactly what I'm talking about.
But after you explain it. Okay.
All right, so let me now set that up.
What is it?
Okay, so a Meat and Three, it's the kind of the traditional Southern diner, cafeteria style restaurant where you go in, you get a meat as your entree, and then you get 3 sides, 3 vegetables. That we're more familiar with conceptually.
Well, I understand what you're saying now, because I wasn't, when you say Meat and Three, it's like, okay, you're meeting people.
No. The meat, the meat. It's an actual meat.
No, right? I'm reminded at this point that he wanted to play center field for the Yankees. So the Meat and Three maybe wasn't part of his childhood.
Oh, me.
Delicatessen though was a lot. Yeah.
Hey, look, I was a kid who wouldn't let his food touch in the plate, so I wouldn't put 2 different foods in my mouth at the same time. Now I stuff 4 different things in my mouth at the same time, so somewhere along the line.
Yeah. Well, so a Meat and Three would have been right up your alley, because a lot of those places they give you the divided plate.
Right. So the cafeteria style trays. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So here's the way in which we're asking that question. In your life, what is the meat? What is the thing around which you organize all other things? What's the guiding principle? What's your philosophical North Star for your life? What's the meat?
Well, wow, that's deep. Wow, we went from where we just came from to this. It's like you stopped me dead in my tracks. So what's the center of my being?
Yeah, what's the thing around which everything
important
else?
Thing, yeah. On
What's
your
the
plate.
anchor?
Well, I guess my family, my mother and my wife. My wife has been part of my life for the, other than my mom now, the longest. I've got friends, family and friends.
Family and friends.
It would be for me, I'm an only child. My cousins were like my big brothers and sisters, and even a few of my younger cousins. I'm like their big brother.
Mm-hmm.
So my family
Okay.
and friends.
All right. So now the three. The three is
what are the other three things?
No, hang on. The three attributes that you would like people to most closely identify with you. If people were to say three things about you, what are those three things those attributes that you would most like associated with you?
About me?
Yep.
Wow. I'm fun, good person, caring person. I don't know. Was a professional at what he did.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those are
great.
good. Those are great.
Yeah,
three.
fun, professional,
those would be my
yeah, caring person. I love those.
All right. So now comes my favorite part. Okay. If you thought those were out of the blue, here is the question that I enjoy most. This is a moment where we ask our guests to speak without any level of being self-conscious about it, any ashamedness around it. But we ask for what we'll call in this case, a husband brag, where you get to brag on your spouse.
Brag on myself, you said?
No,
or
on your
brag
spouse. On your spouse.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You
Anything.
could also
You'll
brag
be
on
lis-
yourself if
you'll
you
be
want, but
listening.
because we let off with spouse, it might turn out bad for
That
you.
would be bad. Yeah.
But it's just it's a husband brag, something where you get to, some too often and I think it's a shame, but it is a little bit of a cliche. You get guys together and too often, if they don't know each other, they're in a professional environment, the easiest route is to speak somewhat negatively in a broadly stereotypical way about their spouse. I see that a lot sometimes out on the golf course. They do, seriously.
I have no
Really,
idea.
that's funny because
What are
it's
you
in your
talking about?
entire comedy routine. Right? It really is your almost your entire comedy routine.
That's not true,
Yeah,
but
okay.
but you got to know where people are. You got to speak to the audience, right?
Okay.
So in this case, we kind of reverse the tables on that, right? One moment where you get to kind of sing your spouse's praises.
I mean, look, Jamie, that, when I was doing my radio show and I was working at, in sports radio in Atlanta, for 3 different sports stations that we have, my wife, Randy, was always like a foil. Randy was always kind of like Lucy to my Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to be in the show, something. And so I did include her. And, other guys that I worked with did kind of include her. So she was kind of the butt of jokes sometimes and, like that, shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
But she's my biggest fan. She's the best thing that's happened to me my whole life.
That's awesome.
She when she hears this, she's just going to be, I'm golden after this.
That's good.
Thanks, James.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So the cliche would be, if you went back on Facebook to find your, oldest love, you'd go back to actually the person who is your spouse.
I don't know if I'm understanding that.
I'm just saying that
what do you mean by cliche?
I'm saying that sometimes I meet people at the club all the time, and it's a second relationship. And I'll say, oh, what's the relationship between you guys? And they'll be like, oh, we were high school sweethearts, and then we went on and led separate lives, and then our lives fell apart, and we went back and found each other. In your case, you found the person, and they are your spouse now.
Yeah, I mean, after 36 years
Wow.
now of
Good for
being
you guys.
involved with each other, so it came out of nowhere. I was doing well. As a young guy in New York.
So
Figuratively playing center field for the Yankees,
right.
Yeah,
from a
there
dating
you go.
perspective.
That I was actually really rolling in center for the Yankees.
Mitch, you were doing so well up to the point that you said I'm gold, and then Jamie just set it up for you. Like I'm going to send you just a clip, right, and play that for your wife.
Yeah.
Wait a minute! I did that. We're right on the same team.
I think Jamie's just brought up a really good point, Mitch, that I wanted to make sure I ask you about. Is there a time that it takes to actually get along with your co-host? mean, is there a period that you have to kind of work in to kind of get that magic? Because I keep trying to find it with Hernan, and it's just, he just keeps killing me.
Oh, you said Hernan. I thought you meant you meant Bendel, right?
No.
Doing it now.
I meant Hernan. You just did it again, but no. But so I mean, have you in your past, have you found that like magic happens on the first day and you guys are just rolling with it and you kind of find that, and is that part of the skill set, or is it just like, boy, we really got to figure out how each guy kind of plays into this role?
Yeah, well, it's a show. You got to work off each other. Not, and that takes time, I guess. Just like being in a band, which I've never been in. I just started taking guitar lessons. My wife got guitar lessons for me, and so I wonder what that's like, as opposed to being part of a show where you got to work together, being part of a team. How long you guys been working together?
Casually.
Yeah, Adam.
I mean, we've been playing basketball with each other for a long time, and so that's kind of it's another team effort of figuring out how to make music.
Most importantly, Mitch, we don't win a lot of basketball games.
Oh no, we don't win many at all.
No, and part of that's because we don't really work well on the court,
and we're not good. We're one of the worst teams.
Yeah, so we thought, let's stop playing basketball on Tuesdays and let's start doing podcasts.
Yeah, COVID helped with that.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Well, so I actually have a theory. So if I was going to analogize shows and radio in particular to basketball, would you say as a host you are more point guard or shooting guard?
No, point guard. Now, but again, for a good part, I did my own show solo.
Right.
So, that's a whole different animal. But you're running point. When you're hosting a show, that's what it's called, running point. So if you're going to be a host with other people working around you, you gotta work them in. You got to know when to get in the ball. You got to know the spots, when to set them up. So point guard for me, but I can't shoot.
Right. If you needed to, you could shoot.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it is interesting because it does take a little while when you're managing, trying to anticipate. Like, I feel like sometimes the guest is like the guy that shows up the gym and kind of gets added to the team at the last minute. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to figure out what their game is.
Yeah.
And how to get them the ball and how to get them to find their shot. And
this is probably, you should have started with this, but what was the best sporting event you attended that you can remember? I assume you're attending a lot of sporting events in your capacity.
I have, yeah. Been blessed to do that. I'd say probably the Yankees-Mets World Series being at Shea Stadium for the Yankees winning the 2000 World Series over the Mets. And the visiting bathroom at Shea Stadium had a flood after the Yankees beat the Mets. And so you had to do everything. They did the awards, they gave the trophy in the locker room, and then they had everybody come out and do interviews on the field. And I think that may have been the first time that was ever done. And that, I think, led to what you see now, where they have, usually it's on the field. Now, not where they set up a whole stand, but, I was getting to interview, Jeter, Mariano Rivera, guys like that out on the field. And it was amazing for a guy who wanted to be kind of fielder for the Yankees. That's the best.
Was it tough being a Yankees fan and a sportscaster in Atlanta?
No, because usually the Yankees were beating the Braves. They played them in the World Series.
How hard is that to balance being a fan of a game and then also being there sort of in a professional capacity? Do you ever get to really disengage and be purely a fan? Or are you always cognizant of...
Always. Yeah, again, that comes back to doing my job. You can't be a fan and do your job. Like I've seen guys walk into a clubhouse, with like a baseball cap on, team's cap. I just don't see how that, that's being professional. Mm-hmm. So I think that's always something that, again, you were there to do a job just like those guys were there to do a job. So, if you want them to take you seriously, then I think you got to come proper.
Does that take away some of the fun of being the sports fan? I mean, being in a professional capacity there, does it minimize the enjoyment that you had as a pure fan?
Sometimes I've thought about that. Again, it's a job. You get paid to do it, and so sometimes I would think about, gosh, I'd love to just kick back and enjoy it a little bit, but there's just so much going on, and it seems to go so fast. No matter what kind of season it was, when I've covered just teams as a beat guy. I did it for the Falcons and I did it for the Braves. 162 game season. I didn't travel, but still 81 home games. It becomes a grind. You're there 3 hours before the game, and you're there a couple hours after the game ends. So all of a sudden, the fan who wanted to interview guys and talk about all that stuff, then it starts to, I guess, grind on you sometimes.
It becomes
but then
a job.
something happens, like perfect example, rest his soul, Skip Carey. When Skip would be doing the ends of Braves games and then tossing it to me for the post game, and you're in the press box at Turner Field, overlooking the field after a game, and then Skip hands it. That all of a sudden, you just kind of like say to yourself, "Wow, how cool is that?"
Right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this then, and we appreciate the time you obviously took and the candor in which you answered our questions with us here tonight. But if you had to make a prediction for the future, what do you think the future of sports journalism and broadcasting looks like? Is it what we're familiar with now, or is there something that you'd say 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you won't anticipate the way sports journalism is done?
I would have to lean in that direction only because of how much it's changed, in the last 10 to 15 years already. I think with the pandemic and how that's affected sports, and now you've got, play-by-play people not at games, doing broadcasts from, right where I am, sitting in my office,
Mm-hmm.
my little studio here, doing them like that. That's certainly, I don't know if we go back to the way it was before. I mean, now you interview players on Zoom, before games, after games. I think some of it sticks. I think some of it maybe goes back, but some of it sticks.
Do you think that those so I would analogize the remote play-by-play as almost
Money
like,
thing.
well, and it's like you're a drone pilot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Air Force is flying drones and got guys sitting in a warehouse in Nevada, right?
Right.
Do you think that reduces some of what you just talked about? That if part of what builds trust between a reporter and a player is proximity and seeing them around, that you lose some of that when you're just relegated to Zoom?
Well, they could still see you or not see you on Zoom, so they know if you're there or not. They know if you're just all of a sudden a fly-by-nighter popping in. Although I'm not even sure if they let someone, unless if someone wanted to get on a Zoom and it had nothing to do with what they wanted to be talking about, and say someone was doing a book or something and wanted to ask them questions not pertaining to a game, then they'd set that up privately. But no, I think being able to have some kind of personable discussion with someone, and that involves face to face or at least 6 feet away. I still think that's better than doing stuff on Zoom. But that's from a reporter's standpoint. I think maybe the athletes, I'd say probably a slight majority of them would probably like it better this way, because I think maybe they're more in control.
All right, so I have to tell you, I did not like NBA in a bubble. I felt like I was watching guys playing at the Y. Like it just was a very different experience. And I think part of what I came to realize is that by seeing other people in the stands, so in the same, and it's why I don't like piped in crowd noise. I don't like that either. In the same way that I don't like a laugh track, right? It's either real or it's pretend. And I think that there's something to be said for seeing some other fan, even if I'm not that fan, by proxy at the event. And I think
it feels more. It feels more alive. It feels more real.
I've actually liked the sporting events where they don't have piped in noise and you can actually hear the conversations of the players or the coaches.
The Tyson fight was pretty darn quiet the other night. I mean, that was incredible how quiet it was. You could hear everything.
Yeah, they have I guess they have some of this on delay so that you can really pick up. I was watching a football game the other night, and it was wild how you could really hear them just getting after each other.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it you couldn't make out, but you kind of could figure out what it was that they were saying. But hey, I just miss going to a game.
Yeah, going to the games is pretty great. Yeah.
It's great watching these things on TV still, even without fans. Even though it's so frustrating because of just whether or not they're going to play or not. I mean, Des Bryant. I don't even know if you know. Des Bryant was supposed to play tonight for the Ravens against the Cowboys, and he ended up. They pulled him off the field 30 minutes before the game because he tested positive.
Wow!
Seriously?
Yeah, and I was never a Des Bryant fan when he was playing for the Cowboys, but I honestly feel bad for that guy because he's worked so hard to get back. He had signed that contract a couple of years ago with the Saints and then practiced with them for the first time and ripped his Achilles.
Yep.
And it came back from that, and then this happened to him tonight. So
I feel like he should maybe take this as a sign.
Well, I
he's
mean,
done.
He's not.
He said he's done for the year.
Oh, that's a
he
bummer.
said he was gonna have a glass of wine and contemplate things.
Yeah. The other guy who's kind of had a little bit of that career random now that I am more familiar with it is Boogie Cousins. Like he's kind of been
he's been snake bit,
oft injured in a way that makes you feel bad for the guy.
I think there's a million of those stories out there. Though.
I think Klay Thompson may be the most recent.
No,
example.
no.
I mean, I think there's a lot of guys that had like so much potential and just never could. The stars never aligned.
Klay Thompson gets an injury, he's out for over a year. Finally comes back. The team's going to be back, and he's in practice, and boom, goes out the other
That's
day.
terrible. Yeah, he will have not have played with Steph Curry for like. By the time he plays with him again, it will probably be close to 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow. But just even like Tom Brady, right? Like that guy, late draft pick. You don't even know he exists on the Patriots, unless Mo Lewis takes out Bledsoe, and suddenly this guy gets a shot. There's an absolute other reality where Mo Lewis doesn't hit Drew Bledsoe quite as hard. Drew doesn't lose that rib, and you've never heard Tom Brady. Tom Brady never plays a game. Right? I mean, I think he just doesn't.
Well, but
he's never given an opportunity to be a starting quarterback anywhere.
Are you saying that because he went to Tampa and turned his back on your beloved
I'm
Patriots?
pissed off about my money.
Oh, he's a Patriots fan.
Yeah, and a Red Sox fan. So this whole Yankee thing is.
Now it comes out.
Now it finally comes out. All right. Well, it's been good talking to you, Mitch. All right. And point of fact, it actually has been great to talk to you, and I appreciate your insight. And I think to kind of wrap it all back up, if you have a difficult conversation or you have something that's a conversation of importance, be it personal or professional, spending a little time prepping for that conversation isn't a bad way to go, and it should make everything go a little smoother.
Yeah, take a little time with it.
Yeah.
Why were you staring me down when you said that?
Well, because we got to talk about this whole. It's not working.
We're gonna have a difficult conversation after we're done with Mitch here.
My chair.
So much better if you were doing it on video. I could see this.
Right? Yeah. There you go.
Oh, we're gonna shoot the video. It'll be up on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. We have a courtroom illustrator that animates all the episodes after they're done. All right. Well, we appreciate it. So remind everybody again, if they wanted to listen to the work that you do, where would they find that?
iHeartMedia. I'm Georgia News Network, Virginia News Network, and North Carolina News on iHeartMedia.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. And
Mitch, as just a fan, I've listened to you many years, and when we moved down to Georgia, you were the voice of sports radio for me for a long time. So thanks. You were always incredible.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, it was great talking to you guys, Jamie. Miss you, my man. Stay safe, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hang on for just 1 second. After we're done. He meant me, Jamie.
Are you sure?
I'm
pretty sure he
confident.
didn't mean you.
Yeah.
Mitch, did you mean me or
no? He
or
meant
Ben?
Bendel.
Oh, okay.
You don't need to go back.
It's pretty
Get
obvious.
information from the guest. The guest knows.
All right.
You know what the interesting part about all of this, Mitch, is that Jamie does most of the editing of these episodes, and I just always am sympathetic to how much of the week he spends cutting himself out of his own show. All right, so stick around, sheep. We're going to be back with more of the BHHcast. We have comic guests coming up. Don't wander too far, Flock. We hate to have to call you back.
They can go a little bit. We'll ring the bell. We'll bring them back.
Taka. We'll be right back.
I might not be back. But
Bah.
Adam, do you ever have problems with not being introed on your own podcast?
Oh my gosh, I'm always getting skipped over, especially this Bendel guy. He's always skipping me.
Have I got the product for you?
What's that?
And they sponsor our show.
All right.
It's a subscription to nametags.com.
Nametags.com. I've actually was a customer of nametags.com before we even started this show because honestly, people pass over me all the time.
With nametags.com, you can create your own name tag. It can have your name, or you could even put Jamie on there if you wanted to.
You know what I love is the really big ones that they have that you can put like wear as hats. They're kind of like the Kentucky Derby hat, but it's just a big name tag.
You can add Christmas lights to it.
Yeah, I've seen those, the ones that are streaming across, the lights that go across the sign. Oh, those are pretty cool. But I mean, just a basic name tag so Jamie doesn't forget me.
I think it'd be hard for him to forget you with the streaming light name tag on your head.
Yeah, I mean, at nametag.com, they've got everything you need when it comes to name tag. Never be left behind. You know, they say you can influence people the more you say their name. Well, if they say your name, you're kind of winning.
Wow.
Heavy. But don't forget to hit nametag.com. And don't forget to put in the code BA.
Nametags.com. Not a real product.
Sheep, head over to nametags.com.
All right, sheep. Welcome back. It's the BHHcast. I am Jamie Bendel, Jamie Hernan, Adam Haig.
Sheep, time to come back to the feed box because this one's going to get good.
Bring it back. It is this time in the episode where we welcome our comic guest. And I'm very excited about this one. This is a longtime personal friend of mine. Adam, you okay over there?
Yeah, a little cough.
So our guest is Claude Shires. Claude, welcome in. I apologize for the coffee intro.
Relax. I just it was a little cough.
It's like he doesn't cough in real life. It's like if there was a medical condition that was mic-related coughing, he would have it.
He coughed in a part that I could have edited out, though, so I think I will edit it out, and then just there'll be no cough, but you talking about the cough.
I think it's a form of Tourette's, like where some people curse when they see microphones. I cough when I see microphones.
Okay, so that's not actually how Tourette works.
I'm pretty sure it is.
No, it isn't.
No, I'm pretty sure it is.
Then
I've seen it. Like
Tourette's.
people come in and then they say, fuck, damn, shit, when they see a microphone, and then, no.
Did you just bring up Tourette's just so you could curse?
What? No.
I think you did.
I'm trying to explain my coughing.
You're doing a poor job of it.
Well, I have Tourette's
All
of
right,
the cough.
so Claude, let's get
It's a medical condition. You should relax.
All right, bring a doctor's note to the next taping so that we can actually, and if so, I will back off. If you can bring a note for medically, microphonally, audio recording induced
Tourette's.
throat spasms.
That's what I have.
Okay.
So
Are you still with us, guest?
A lot of
Are you
people
still with
suffer
us?
from this shit.
Oh, I'm still here, yeah.
Have you left?
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
No, I'm here.
All right, what's going on with you? You doing okay?
Yeah, man. Everything is, given the current state of affairs, not having California open for comedy shows has been, its own, everybody's just kind of waiting to see what happens around that. But, I think those of us that are, come on, you can't really be a full-time comedian and make a living, right? So, like, video editing has kind of been my thing. So I've just been I was cutting 2 shows for Netflix this whole spring. And a video editor in quarantine looks very much like a regular video editor. It's you walk in the room and be like, "You in quarantine?" I'm like, "I'm good. I've been quarantining since January." So yeah, I was kind of, I guess, lucky enough to just have work I could cut and edit out of my garage for Netflix during that whole time.
So Claude, this is a safe space. Is there an underground comedy scene in California, like breaking the order?
Oh, there were a few. There was one going on outside called the Venice Comedy Compound, and it was basically like a swimming pool on one side, a comic on the other, and so everybody felt like there was a safe distance between them. And those, I think it was Ahmed was running it, and they got shut down. I think they were like the last to get shut down. They got shut down last week, but people were doing comedy out of the back of pickup trucks.
becoming the new speakeasy.
Yeah,
You know,
it is. It is.
hide the comic. Hide the
And,
comic.
Hide the comic, quick. Everybody can hear we're praying. What's the group thing?
That's right.
You know, it's a religious thing.
You know, Claude, I was saying that the old cliche, right? And so for years, alternative comedians got a perhaps unjustified reputation of being less funny than mainstream comedians. Some had advanced that argument. And I said this would be a renaissance period for them if not laughing was helpful to preventing the spread of COVID.
Yeah, true. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about my lack of skill as a stand-up comic. I would.
You should be out on the road.
Right.
You should
They
be
would book me all over the place.
You'd be crushing it. You'd
Right.
be making a ton of money. All right. So
You'd be like, look, this this guy's COVID safe. You don't have to worry. Nobody's gonna laugh.
yeah. Don't even bother masking up. There will be nothing coming out of your mouth.
Exactly.
Wait,
Unexpected.
Claude has heard my bits.
Yeah, you don't want. So listen, I'm going to make this suggestion. You don't want to flirt with the idea that you're the unfunny one on the podcast, because if you take on
you
that
need to be
identity,
careful. You especially need to be careful with that flirtation.
Hey, I'm lowering expectations. Surprise the sheep.
I think you let that. I think they should set their own expectations.
Yeah.
Not all of us can brag about going to the gym and all of our, connections.
Not all of us can brag about their medical conditions.
Sorry, Claude. We love
All
each
right.
other.
So,
here.
as an editor,
okay.
do you listen to this conversation that we're having and thinking, "I'm cutting all of this.
Yeah, this is all crap.
This is all garbage. This is
Dude,
not
what are you
working."
guys talking about? This is comedy fire. You're on to something here.
All right. So, listen. Here's question one. We ask of all guests. Question number one. We are posing to you. What does it say on your business card?
Ooh, right now it says founder, chief executive officer. Pretty funny that coming out of my mouth. Do I actually have a business card? Does my business salutation count on my email?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, on my work email, that's what it says: CEO and founder of Laugh Lounge.
All right. And for those who are unfamiliar, what is Laugh Lounge?
So Laugh Lounge is a streaming service specifically tailored to stand-up comedy. That's all we do is stand-up comedy. And I had this concept. I had this idea a few years ago that, having been on stand-up on the road, paying for my apartment in Los Angeles, but being gone 3 weeks a year so I could go to the Punchline or the Comedy Zone or wherever, and then I'd come back to LA, and then I would see my fiance or my girlfriend at the time, and then I would go back out on the road. It's like, dude, why am I paying for all this? And not being able to, with the hopes that, obviously someday you'll get to eat out of that Comedy Central or Hulu or Netflix comedy special pie. And so when the opportunity, kind of, if you will, depending on what side of the fence you're on, my wife would be called opportunity. It's a startup. You're not making a real living yet. It's like this. The glass half's full here. So anyway, Laugh Lounge is a streaming service that's specifically around stand-up, but also it's a home for. I would, hesitate to say all things stand-up comedy because I don't want to tread on the all things comedy brand, but pretty much. I mean, we're a streaming service that has a partner program where the artists can keep 20%. They basically become affiliates and keep 20% of every subscription that they generate. We have a place for them to do merch, and the whole goal is to pay comics well and then give them a bigger piece of the pie, and then use, our combined marketing efforts, both in social and email, to grow the business for everybody. And that's what Laugh Lounge is.
As long as you're based in California, can you call it a Silicon? Adam, stop
Who's coughing now?
Stop coughing,
Who's
Adam.
coughing now, asshole?
As long as it's based in California, can you call it a Silicon Valley startup?
They have their own kind of. It's funny that we talked about the silicone thing today. I was talking to a guy out of Park City who's like, they call it the silicone slopes, and I want to punch myself in the face.
So everybody grabs.
Silicon,
Yeah.
Everybody, depending on where you're developing, like Silicon Valley, we have Silicon Beach, right? That's here. So when I kind of conceptualized this idea about building out a streaming service, I realized there's huge gaps in my knowledge. And part of how the way that you get those filled in the tech community is that you go into an incubator, just like the show Silicon Valley, except most incubators are they look like an office space. It looks it looks like a WeWork with a Starbucks or something in the middle, right? And so the incubator comes in, and they are officially tech, Silicon Beach incubator. Our incubator happens to be a company called Science Inc., and they are most notable for the Dollar Shave Club. That's their kind of claim to fame. They helped launch Dollar Shave Club. So I pitched those guys for about a year. It took a year to get in there. And then finally, once you get in there, then those guys can help fill all the gaps and like, okay, Mr. Video Guy, we know how you have to do edit and direct and whatnot, but here's how we do streaming and subscription service. And this is how we tether your Facebook ads to your mobile app. And, you can tether, basically so you can check how many people downloaded it, how many people subscribed to it, and then you can take that back to your investors and try to get money.
Interesting.
So those gaps were filled through that through Science Incubator, and which allows me to somewhat try to focus more on getting comedians in the door, helping them with the partnership, and then producing stand-up comedy, which is like my favorite thing in the whole world.
All right. And so for those of you who may not be familiar with it, what are some of the specials that you've directed for other comedians?
Gosh, well, I worked on about, I want to say 20 or 30 before I finally got to direct, like as an editor, and like Joan Rivers, Andrew Dice Clay, some of the, Jimmy Schubert, Carlos Mencia, just a ton of names as an editor. And then the most recent one I did for Netflix was Felipe Esparza in English and in Spanish. And that was interesting. If you saw Netflix now, it's called Malas Decisiones, or Bad Decisions in English, and you can watch it in English. But for those of you that really want to learn Spanish, I recommend you watch the Spanish version with English subtitles.
That's a great idea.
It's a great way for you to be like, wait a second, watch the English special first. And I just went through this in my own kind of like funny way in post. But you get through the English special, and it's all the same material. Literally, it's the same stuff. So you basically watch the first special, and then you go in Spanish. You go, that's how they fucking say that in Spanish. So those two are currently out, and and I learned most of this stuff just by being a comic and having the rest of the time on my, another 23 hours a day.
Am I recalling correctly? You did a couple of national TV commercials too, right?
Yes, as an actor. K Jewelers, Mercury Insurance, a couple of those. I mean, we're all trying to figure out how to make a buck out here.
Right.
Right.
Got to fill it. Okay. So are you familiar in your travels as a stand-up comedian with the concept of a meat and three restaurant?
A neat and three, like a clean three?
No, meat.
Like,
MEAT. Meat and three.
Wait, yes, I am.
Yes.
Oh, are you though?
Yes,
I don't know. Let's go to the judges.
He hesitated there.
All right. I don't think. Sorry.
I think he's trying to cover.
Yeah,
but let's go ahead. Let's explore this. Meat and three. Do you know what a meat and three is?
I do.
What is it?
Cafeteria.
Oh, damn.
Boom.
He does know.
Go no further. Shush. Okay.
That's right.
Well done, sir.
All right.
And then three vegetables. The macaroni and cheese is kind of a vegetable.
You just crushed it. You absolutely crushed it.
All right.
Wait, Bendel, who are you texting?
Yeah, did you just text him? Yeah.
No, I'm not texting. Read your phone. All right. So, since you're familiar with the concept, we asked that question in this context. In your life, what is the meat? What is the philosophy, the principles, the organizing thing around which you organize the rest of your life? What is the meat in your life?
Does ADHD count as meat? So for me, the meat would have to be, my family. I mean, it's my wife and daughter, first, and it wasn't always. It was like the craft, and then everything else kind of fell on the wayside. But now it's like I just, I hate to sound pokey, but it's kind of like the very end of the yellow brick road, right? When you get there, Hollywood is kind of like that. Like you get to a certain, you have like, I always tell people the farther you are away from Los Angeles in our industry, the more power it has over you. Because once you get out here and you're like a practicing stand-up comedy, you're like, what the hell is that smell? Hooker ass foot? Like, and then you realize quite, truly, you do realize that like, oh my God, I didn't have to really go anywhere, to get satisfaction. And I think that was the most elusive thing for me as a comic and as an actor, and trying to like get everybody to recognize my greatness by being broadcast into their living room simultaneously. That ultimately I didn't have to look any further than my own backyard. Ironically, though, you can't get that insight unless you take the journey. Does that make sense?
So true. Yes.
you have to take the trip in order to be like, what the fuck am I doing here? You know, I could have Cracker Barrel right now, or, you know, or whatever it is that happens to be your comfort, you know, but it's like we get it in our head that we have to go out and achieve this thing, you know, to have this colossal success and to be recognized, you know. And then I think every time you hit that level, you know, whether it's getting your SAG card or becoming a regular or getting a 15-minute spot or a 30-minute spot on a Saturday night or wherever it is,
right?
You know, you hit the levels and they don't generate revenue. So my meat is, you know, my daughter, my family, and then everything else comes around that, you know. And my wife's part of the startup,
okay,
yeah. So that's my meat. And the other thing.
All right. So hang on. So let's get to the three. Let's get to the three now. Yeah. All right. So here's the three. The three is, what are the attributes that you would like people to most closely associate with you?
Okay.
What are the three key attributes?
The three attributes: unstoppable, compassionate, and generous.
All right. Those are good three.
Yeah, interesting three.
I like unstoppable.
Those are new three. We haven't had unstoppable before.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Very good.
Yeah, and it's very specific, right? It's different than like a persistence.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now the last question is the one that I enjoy asking the most because it's pretty straightforward, and it is this. This is open floor, unashamedly. What is a dad brag that you would have about your child?
A dad brag about my child.
Can be anything. Something that you're just super proud about your kid.
Unquestionably, her ability to draw and to, you know, put all of our family on paintings and pictures. Like her ability to draw art, I guess, is it's literally like the best. Like I'm shocked. I look at the stuff that she draws at 8 years old, and I'm like, dude, I couldn't do that if I was 28 years old. So, you know, I'm shocked, and I realize that, you know, my daughter is she's her own artist. She's going to do what she's going to do. But her artwork to me is like, dude, it's unbelievable. I'll send you a picture. You'll have it for the
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. We can add that. Yeah,
that'd be
we
the
can put it
special
with the
Put it
episode.
on the,
exclusive content.
That is a great one, though, because I think I have zero ability to draw, right? And I always have great admiration for anybody that knows how to do it. Like it for some reason for me, that seems to be like a absolute brain block. That it's undoable. Like I have no concept of how you see something and then you put that on a paper and you somehow make the images. Yeah. Like I have no idea how that happens. Yeah. And yet, so I have great admiration for those, and especially when it's younger people that can do it. It's like, you know, when you go to a foreign country and little kids come up to you speaking fluent German and or Japanese.
How do these German kids speak German?
How does this 6-year-old like how does this 6-year-old figure this out?
How do they teach all these kids to speak German?
It's amazing, right? It's the same thing with me with drawing.
I'm picturing the situation though where an 8-year-old girl can draw. She's an amazing drawer, and yet you look at it and you're like, but why is Daddy still a stick figure?
Yeah, exactly. Well, what she'll do, she'll be like, me and Mommy have this really nice house over here, and then Daddy, you're over here by yourself.
Right.
When you were talking about these German children, it's amazing how well they speak German.
So
it reminded me of this great Steve Martin joke. He's like, the French, it's like they have another word for everything.
For everything.
All right, so that brings me to a great opportunity to ask this question we ask of our comedians. In your set, in the material that you perform, what would you identify as a broken bit? It's something that you know is funny, you're convinced in the quality of the premise, but for whatever reason, it's just a joke that you can't quite get to work right.
But it doesn't have to be in his current set,
it may not
right?
be in the set.
No, just
because
in
it's broken.
but just a.
So I'll tell you one. I have one that is a funny joke if I do say so myself. But because of the way that depends on who I incorporate into the joke, and when I tell you the joke here in a second, you'll understand where I'm coming from. Because I don't want the joke to be offensive, but depending on how it's said or how I introduced it, it can become racially offensive. And the joke is, when I went to this, I was really interested in this one cute girl who worked at this restaurant across the street from me, and it was a chicken restaurant. And I went over there, and there was a very beautiful African American woman working behind the counter, And she goes, what would you like? And I would like the 4-piece chicken dinner. She goes, you want white meat or dark meat? And I was like, you can mix it up. Just put the dark meat in the front of the box. Right? Right? And, that's what I mean, right? So it's like, so if I put it on her and she goes, oh, let me guess, you just want all white meat. But no, I want white meat and dark meat. In fact, you could put the white meat in the back of the box.
Nice.
Right? And the white meat can ride in the back of the box. And it's one of those things, just so like, it's such a thin line to work on. And I do think the joke will work. It's just one of those ones, it's like, Mario Joyner is doing a new podcast, interesting, called Unfinished Bitness, where they try to figure out how to work those bits. But yeah, I haven't figured out if I should just retire the joke, maybe, or give it to another comic, but it's just hard in a racially charged, you figure out how to do that joke and not have it come off as, you're racist.
It seems like there's some crowds that would laugh at that joke, and you would think you're laughing at that for the wrong reason.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You judge the crowd.
Well, it's a good joke. I mean, it's not a joke that you would see coming necessarily, right? Like so I think sometimes part of what makes jokes not work is they're more obvious in their conclusion than you would think. And it takes a while for the comedian to get out of their own head. Like so today I've gotten into this odd habit of looking for cars on Facebook Marketplace.
You do that all the time.
It's a time killer.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated by the pictures that people post associated with the sale of their cars. I'm like, you couldn't not include a picture of your dog randomly walking through the picture, or why is your kid leaning on the car you're trying? Like, there's just stuff that
just go take a picture of the car. Like,
just,
you don't need
I just
to
wanted
pull
the car.
Yeah.
I don't need to know anything about your life.
The
right?
police
like,
home with you. If we just put the dog in it, maybe people will want to buy the car.
Something like, are you selling the dog? Or are you selling the car?
I'm selling
right?
the lifestyle. It's part of the brand.
Or the lousier the car. Like, there's nobody selling a 2-year-old Mercedes using their thumb to cover the license plate, right? It's always sub $1,500 cars where it's like a fistful of knuckles blocking the license plate to be like, why your license plate information is. So
do you guys remember that time that we were talking about Claude's chicken joke?
Which we are still talking about.
Oh, I didn't know. We're
still talking about.
We are. Okay.
Yeah. All right. By the way, you should be getting a door deal, Jamie, when you go out on the road, because you're killing all the bits. Which I'm about to do professionally. So today I saw a picture of a truck, and the lead picture for the sale of this pickup truck, there was a rebel flag sticking out of the back of the truck bed, right? So it wasn't like a bumper sticker. It wasn't the license plate. It was like, I'm sticking this flag out of the back of the truck as the lead picture in the sale of this.
Norm, you come in here because I think we got a truck from somebody who's a good people.
But I thought...
Farmers only truck right here.
Well, but the best part about it was a white truck.
Nice.
It was literally a white truck, and I'm like, of course it was. Like,
of course it was.
Of course it's a white pickup truck.
Norm, are you going to buy me a white pickup truck for Christmas? Because I want this one with the flag.
Well, but my thing is like, does a person be like, I don't trust this guy, I don't trust this guy, and then you see that flag, and you're like, there's somebody I can identify with.
Winner.
Right? I know what this
You're like,
guy's
that
about.
guy knows the code.
Right. Yeah.
He's got the
Right?
code.
Yeah.
He's obviously great at marketing.
Yeah, he gets it.
Again,
Yeah.
he is selling a lifestyle.
Yeah. But anyway, my point is that I thought like I should take that picture and I would post it and I would make the comment, and then I thought, payoff isn't worth it.
I have a question.
Too risky.
Does that say more about that guy or Facebook Marketplace?
I don't know. But I guess I was getting at it. I just think that there are times where you take a joke like his and you say, okay, am I pushing a line here? Do people get sensitive about it? Do they feel self-conscious about it? And I do think that we get weird about things that are just kind of funny applications of how does chicken go in a box?
Yeah.
Right?
But a good joke makes you uncomfortable, or can make you uncomfortable, right? You sort of, the laughter is a reaction to the discomfort because you're not expecting it. So maybe there needs to be something in the joke that calms it down.
I mean, I think there's Brian Keith Etheridge has this joke that's pretty similar. Well, I should say it's only similar in the fact that it's the common denominator is kind of misguided racism. where he does this joke where he goes, man, he goes, you guys ever do your own laundry? He goes, I go to this place, Laundryland, and I'm trying to put in my, I got my darks over here, and I got my dark stand with my darks, and I got my whites over here, I got my colors over here, and when I put, for whatever reason, when I put a white in with the colors, it suffers under the influence of the color and changes. It does not happen. It does not happen the other way around. You put a dark in with white, no. And he goes, dude, they beat the shit out of me at Laundryland.
Can I just point out that Adam was the one laughing at that joke?
I love that joke. I think that's funny.
It's really funny. And again, he's a really great writer, and he wrote it out, more than I've written my joke out. But he really, tagged it out and found out where can I create confluence or confusion around this issue, And so I think that's kind of our job, as comedians, is to be, look, Jimmy Schubert always says, if you don't cross the line, you won't know where it is, right? And I believe that too.
Yeah, so it's interesting that you say it that way, because I think that one of the interesting things about comedy generally is that because it is almost something that you don't have control over, the laughter gets out before the brain kicks in and says, I shouldn't laugh at that one.
Yeah,
right?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That might be one where you get the joke out, they laugh, but then stop laughing. There's like an abrupt stop to the laughter where they're wondering whether they should laugh.
That's not the way laughter works. Good laughter is you have a good, honest, hard belly laugh.
Right, but then
that is no. It's no catching. There is no catching. The darker the joke, the crueler, the worse it is. The harder the laugh, the harder it is to catch. Golf laughs, you can stop anytime, right? You get something that really crosses a line. It's like a runaway golf cart.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true facts.
True story.
All right. So where would people find you on the internet? Speaking of which.
Well, find Laugh Lounge on Facebook, Android, iOS, and Apple TV, and soon to be Roku, and get a new website coming out. So laughlounge.com. And you can find us, just at laughlounge.com, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And laughlounge.com.
So how does that work actually to get into those functions, like to get into the iOSs and the Google? So like we got this smart TV, like a Roku type thing. Can you go? How do you get your app into those things? Is that what your incubator does for you, or
No, well, the incubator does part of it for you. The real, that's kind of the rub of this whole thing is it's like it's so much work to live in those ecosystems from a tech perspective, because like, for example, right? So I go out and I build a brand new iPhone app, and I can take payments on it. I can rent product on it. I can take pay-per-view, whatever. And then Apple decides that they're going to release a new version of the operating system, because that's just what they do every year, right? And then when they do that, if they change anything on the phone, you have to go through and modify every single screen on your app for every single one of their phones, or they won't approve it. So you basically, you have to go learn how to put, what the app approval process is for both Google and for Apple. And once you've learned that process, you're kind of beholden to it, unless you build a different app that's, it doesn't kind of live in the App Store. And you know what? The thing is, everybody's in the App Store. Like when you go out and you build a television network, you got to go through and be like, okay, here's the network that we're going to be on this frequency. This is how we're going to be doing this, this gigahertz. For me to build a streaming app, you know who my two audiences are? Android and iPhone.
That's it.
Over 1 billion people on each one. Yeah. When I go to pitch investors and they're like, well, how big is the market? I was like, how big is the planet? I have 2 billion people.
Right.
1 billion on iOS and 1 billion on Android. And India is like, coming alive right now for stand-up comedy. So when we started to do this, we were doing it more of a matter of convenience. But what it really kind of turned into was like, dude, this is your marketplace. You don't have to deal with all of the FCC regulations that go along with being a true terrestrial broadcaster. But now I can put my streaming service up, and it takes, it took a lot of time and money to get this, initially to where it was. It took about $200,000 to really build it out right for all the platforms. And then you got to do it. You got to keep it updated and rebuild it. But
so is the dream
kind of at the whim?
Is the dream then to have so it's all on demand I go onto your service and then find the comic, or is it the content is just streamed to me, based on kind of whatever the schedule is for that day?
So it's twofold. I think that in a perfect world, you would, you get a subscription. There's free stuff on there too. But you download the app and you watch the content that you want. You can follow comedians that you want. But ultimately, like, what I would like to see is a comedy club in the phone. So like, hey, you know what? Every single night of the week, you're getting a live stand-up comedy performance from a different partner in a different city, like Atlanta, Chicago, New York, New Jersey, Florida, figure it out, like anywhere really. And that we work with those qualified partners to send us the streams so that they're pre-qualified. So, hey, if you want to watch a live show, grab your chick, your significant other, or whatever, and watch it tonight and pay the $20, just like you would at a club. But if you want to watch it after the fact, you can become a subscriber, and then you'll get those live shows in a week or whenever we get a chance to cut them and then put them back up. So it's really kind of like, hey, comedy is its own art form. It's not broadcast. It's not Netflix. Live stand-up is stand-up. So my whole thing is, look, it's not chaos enough, as Jamie knows, to run a comedy club. Like, let's not try to make the comedy club a qualified content media producer. We do that, and let the comedy clubs be comedy clubs. That's the 35,000 foot vision.
I think that sounds very cool.
Go to Laugh Lounge for the 8 o'clock show, and then when you're done, go to the Punchline for the live show.
Yep. Then hit the 9 o'clock show.
That's right. Or like, hey, I would really like to watch that show at the Punchline, but I can't get there for whatever reason, right? Or it's beyond capacity. Well, here, guess what? You can watch the rest of the show here for full price.
Right.
Right. So that way you can say to the person, which we originally was kind of our market proposition was, there's a ton of people out there. They can't get to the Punchline for whatever reason.
There's a pandemic.
Right? Yes, exactly. Those 3 people can't buy 5 times the liquor, unless you're in Florida. Hey, yo. And so in that regard, it's like, look, let's figure out a way to help you expand beyond your physical venue capacity limitations.
I think it sounds like a really, really cool idea.
Thanks. We're getting there.
Awesome.
All right, well, go check it out, and I appreciate you taking the time to join us here this evening. It's good to hear your voice, as always. Glad to hear the family's doing well.
You too. Pleasure meeting you all, gentlemen, and I'm using that word lightly. And let's continue the conversation.
We will.
All right. We also have adopted the Your Excellency, His Excellency, and Adam is signing his emails now.
Yes. It is an honor to be your humble servant. I'm humbled to be your servant. Yeah.
He's not specific on it.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. George, I'm reading a book about George Washington, and he apparently referred to. He's great because he takes in all his like slander letters that he sends out to other politicians at the time. He starts with "Your Excellency." Screw you! Send me troops right now. This whole thing's gonna go to crap if you don't get it.
G. Washington.
It is an honor to be your humble servant, George Washington. Yeah.
All right, we appreciate it, buddy. Good talking to you.
All right, guys. Have a good evening.
All right, be good. All right, great having Claude on the show. Check out Laugh Lab. There's actually a ton of content there. It is amazing. Learn maybe some comedians you aren't familiar with. So check it out, Sheep.
After you check that out, check out Laugh Lounge.
What did I say? Laugh Lab?
Yeah.
Okay. Laugh Lab is the all-female comedy class taught by Liz Larrabee here in Atlanta. Laugh Lounge is the comedy streaming app. So you can actually check out both.
Sure. Just say it again.
I'm not going to say it a third time.
Just say it again.
All right, check out Laugh Lounge. That was Claude Shires. Always great
Super
to talk
great guy.
to Cloud. Always great to talk to Claude.
Yeah, or clouds. Sometimes I'll talk to clouds when I get depressed.